It has no stealth coating, with a radar cross-section as large as a flying apartment building. Its top speed can't even break the sound barrier, with 8 smoke-belching old engines hanging under its wings. To replace this 1950s flying tractor, the U.S. Air Force spent over $100 billion developing the variable sweep-wing B-1B supersonic bomber and the alien technology B-2 stealth bomber. The Pentagon swore countless times to send this relic to the aircraft graveyard. But the result? The multi-billion-dollar B-1B and B-2 will both be retired early in the 2030s. Meanwhile, this old bird that first flew in 1952, the bomber that grandfathers flew, fathers flew, and grandsons are still flying, will receive engine upgrades and continue serving past 2050. One aircraft's lifespan will span an entire century. Why did cutting-edge stealth technology lose to a pile of Cold War aluminum? Welcome to Tactical Trace. We don't worship sci-fi weapons' flashy specs. We only track the real physics and lethality equations on the battlefield. Today we'll dissect modern air warfare's most counterintuitive math problem and show you how this ugly beast dominates billion-dollar stealth fighters at the tactical level. To understand why the B-52 won, we must first track how its 2 successors lost. Engineering has a brutal iron law. Every time system complexity doubles, reliability drops exponentially. In the 1970s, to counter the Soviet Union's powerful air defense network, the U.S. military believed bombers must fly extremely fast and extremely low. Thus, the B-1B Lancer was born. To achieve both high speed and low-altitude penetration, it adopted an extremely complex variable sweep-wing design. But complexity equals disaster. The B-1B's mechanical structure is extremely fragile, often requiring dozens of hours of ground maintenance for every hour of flight. It can go supersonic, but it spends most of its time grounded in hangars. By the 1980s, surface-to-air missiles became increasingly lethal, and speed could no longer save lives. So the U.S. military went to another extreme, ultimate stealth, and the $2.1 billion B-2 Spirit was born. The B-2 is indeed the pinnacle of human aerospace engineering, but it's built from gold bricks. The B-2's cost per flight hour reaches $130,000 to $150,000. Even worse, it must be housed in specially designed, climate-controlled hangars to protect its fragile stealth coating. When the Cold War ended, Pentagon commanders suddenly faced an absurd tactical scenario. To destroy a few armed pickup trucks worth less than $10,000 in the Middle Eastern desert, you need to deploy a $2.1 billion stealth Ferrari, burning $150,000 per hour to drop bombs. Stealth, after achieving air superiority, became an extremely expensive and meaningless, ineffective premium. Since high-tech hit a dead end, tactical requirements inevitably returned to the most primitive violent engineering. The B-52 cannot be replaced precisely because it's dumb and non-stealthy. First, absolute dominance in lift and fuel efficiency. Modern fighters and the B-1B must use swept wings to break the sound barrier, resulting in extremely poor lift-to-drag ratios and fuel consumption during subsonic cruise. The B-52 abandoned supersonic flight from the start, adopting huge high-aspect ratio straight wings. At a cruise speed of Mach 0.8, this wing design delivers terrifying lift efficiency. This gives the B-52 an astonishing range exceeding 14,000 kilometers, allowing it to cross oceans without refueling and loiter over combat zones for hours. Second, the volume redundancy dividend from being non-stealthy. Stealth is a harsh physical constraint. To avoid reflecting radar waves, the B-2's surface must be absolutely smooth, meaning all bombs and missiles must fit inside strictly limited internal weapons bays. But the B-52 doesn't need stealth. You can't add cargo containers to a supercar, but you can weld new hardpoints onto a truck chassis anytime. Under the B-52's massive wings, the U.S. military can mount any size of modern weapon without constraint, from precision-guided bombs weighing hundreds of pounds to hypersonic missiles several meters long and weighing tons. The B-52 can carry up to 32 tons of ordnance in a single sortie. Tactically, the B-52 is no longer just an aircraft. It's a universal flying platform with exceptional interface compatibility. You're probably wondering, if the B-52 is slow, non-stealthy, with a massive radar signature, won't it be a sitting duck near enemy airspace? This is where tactical thinking has undergone a fundamental dimensional reduction over the past 20 years. The technology transferred. The Pentagon finally figured out a simple arithmetic problem. Before, we had to make the aircraft stealthy to drop bombs on the enemy. But today, the missiles themselves are stealthy. The missiles have eyes. This gave birth to modern Air Force's most lethal tactical concept, the arsenal plane. If the U.S. military possesses stealth cruise missiles with ranges exceeding 1,000 or even 3,000 kilometers, the carrier aircraft never needs to enter enemy air defense range. The B-52's operational mode has completely changed. In potential future great power conflicts, it doesn't need to penetrate enemy fire networks. It just takes off from Guam, flies to the absolutely safe Pacific interior, then acts as an airborne missile silo, launching tons of long-range cruise missiles from under its wings before turning home. Spending $150,000 per hour to fly a stealth aircraft into danger zones to drop short-range bombs, versus spending $70,000 to have an old aircraft launch 20 stealth cruise missiles from 1,000 miles away. As long as the missiles ultimately destroy the target, the tactical outcome is identical, but the latter's firepower density, survivability, and cost-effectiveness completely dominate the former. When weapons evolved from free-fall bombs to long-range smart missiles, non-stealthy carriers ceased being a disadvantage. As long as missiles reach launch positions, a 1950s aircraft and a 2020s aircraft have identical tactical value. Based on this unassailable economic and tactical logic, the U.S. Air Force made its final decision: abandon all B-1Bs, retire all B-2s, fully retain the B-52. Currently, the U.S. military is advancing the SERP re-engineering program. They'll equip the B-52 with Rolls-Royce F-130 modern commercial turbofan engines, improving fuel efficiency by 30% and completely solving maintenance difficulties. Meanwhile, the nose will receive the most advanced AESA phased array radar. These reborn aircraft will be redesignated B-52J. Giving a 70-year-old airframe a new heart is like installing a Tesla motor and autopilot system on an old tractor. Buying a brand new bomber requires amortizing hundreds of billions in R&D costs, while re-engineering the B-52 costs only tens of millions. The chassis may be old, but its sensors, firepower, and cost-effectiveness belong to the 21st century. So, back to the original question. Why can't the Air Force kill this 70-year-old vehicle? Because the ultimate truth of weaponry has never been blindly pursuing sci-fi movie specs, but rather the optimal solution of cost, reliability, and destructive power. The B-2 represents the ultimate in human aerospace engineering. It's beautiful, but it's an expensive piece of art. The B-52 is the crudest yet purest gear in war's brutal machine. When you have a perfect heavy hammer, there's absolutely no need to spend hundreds of billions upgrading it to an invisible hammer. All you need is for it to deliver the most lethal blow. This is Tactical Trace. We don't worship machines, we calculate battlefield equations. If this 70-year-old aerial cannon and its violent physics have earned your respect, please like and subscribe to our channel. Tell us in the comments, do you think the B-52 will really serve until 2050? Next episode, we'll continue tracking the tactical truth behind the next superweapon.